Well, good morning. How are you all today? And welcome to Integrative Preparedness. Is a major die-off on the way. That's what I want to talk about today. Now you can imagine I'm going to have to be kind of careful how I say things, the words I use, and how I put things. And you all that leave comments will have to be kind of careful with that too, so that the video doesn't, and the channel itself don't have problems. Um, by the way, welcome to all the new people. We have a lot of new people. It's great to have you. We are a voice of reason in the chaos, in the crazy. We don't try to jump up and down and scare everybody and simply talk about the latest horrible things that are headed your way this week. But today I'm afraid we're going to have to. It's important to keep these things in mind and to be prepared for it. If you don't have an idea of what may be coming, you're not quite sure what you should have on the front of your plate, and then things take you by surprise, and that's never a good way to be. Well, today over in Davos, they're deciding our fate. Those who feel that they're better than the rest of us are deciding what they want to do with us. And today's subject apparently is this disease X. I mentioned it a couple of videos back. I think some other people have too. What is this disease X, and what do we need to think about it? What do we need to do? And more important, well, just as importantly, what's coming our way as a result of them thinking about this, addressing this whatever, right? You know what the whatever encompasses, and how do we get ready for it? There was just something, and I will attach two things to the Patreon when I put this video on Patreon also. I'll attach two links. The first one is going to be a Rumble video where scientists are now warning that the latest COVID variant could trigger heart failure pandemic. Heart failure pandemic. That's something we haven't heard before, right? Yeah. Now, don't have anybody get on there and tapping out the truth about this, because the truth may set you free personally, but the truth can jeopardize those of us trying to get the truth out, right? Our ability to do that. So a heart failure pandemic. That's just this latest scare. Well, we know what they're doing with that. We are aware that there have been, shall we say, excess deaths over the last couple of years, right? More than usual, a lot more than usual, right? And this was supported by not a bunch of crazies on YouTube, but by the insurance companies. So we know, and you and I know the cause of that. And we can't say it, can we? We can't say it, but we don't have to say it, because we know it. And when we talk to each other, we know what we're talking about. We can say it. If you were here in my office and I'd kick my feet up on the desk and give you a cup of coffee, we could just use the words. We could talk about it. We can't hear it. Okay. By the way, would you make sure that you give this video a thumbs up, and would you make sure that you're subscribed? I'm not sure if that does any good, because people just tell me they are being unsubscribed right and left across the board, and it's not just this channel. We know what they're doing. Certain channels have been identified by the powers as being dangerous, meaning they tell the truth. Proud that this is one of those, but make sure that you're subscribed. But more important than that, if you would you leave a comment, even if it's just a thumbs up or a hey Steve or whatever, and then would you share it? Please share the video. The way that we address things right now is to get as much of the truth out there to as many people as possible, and it helps the channel apparently if you share it, but more importantly, it gets the message out to more people. So if you would do that, and people have asked me, Do you mind if I share your videos? I don't mind if you share anything that I put out there. Share everything, even the stuff over on Patreon. Because if you're on Patreon with us, you're a member, okay? So it's kind of like you're a member of the club and you can bring a guest. So go ahead, share that stuff off the Patreon. My purpose is to get more information out there. Hopefully your friends will join us because there's a lot of extra stuff, as those of you who are on Patreon know. There's a lot of extra stuff on Patreon that I don't put on YouTube. So if you're not with us, please come join us. The link is down below. You'll be glad you did. I promise you that. So we know that there have been a lot of excess deaths, and we know why, and it's going to continue, and now it's going to increase. But now they're telling us that this latest COVID variant could trigger a heart failure pandemic. So we know what they're doing. We know what they're doing. Okay. Now let's get to the next thing, and this is what they're doing over in Davos. And I'm going to read an article, not the whole thing, but I'm going to read quite a bit of an article from the U.S. Sun here. And it's written by Juliana Cruz Lima. And it's just a few hours ago. Like I said, they're over there. They're all gathered in Davos, acting important and deciding what they're going to do with the peons. So their title here is World Leaders Gather Over Chilling Disease X Threat Amid Fears Mystery Outbreak Could Kill 20 Times More Than COVID. All right, let's get into the meat of this. Like I said, I'm going to read quite a bit of this. You're going to want to hear it, and then we'll talk about it. World leaders will gather today to discuss a deadly and mysterious disease dubbed Disease X that could spark the next pandemic. Now, a lot of people, I don't think, really understand what Disease X is, and you're going to learn here. The World Health Organization, who has warned the pathogen could kill 20 times more people than the COVID pandemic did. I know, resist the urge to say, yeah, okay, don't do that. We know what we're talking about. And then it's got some pictures of people laying in hospital beds and being sick and everything like that. Now, the world's biggest pandemic threats, according to who? Who? Yeah, who? Are Ebola and Marburg, Crimean Congo hemorrhagic fever, Lassa fever, severe acute respiratory syndrome, SARS, Middle East respiratory syndrome, coronavirus, MERS, COVID, SARS-CoV-2, Nipah, I'm not familiar with that one, Rift Valley fever, Zika virus, and Disease X. May I interject something here? And I'm not, again, going to put it into words, but think about that list. And if you, like I say, I'm going to post this over on Patreon. So if you're on Patreon, you can look at the list again and remind yourself what part of the world do most or all of these come from? Ask yourself that. Okay, now here's what Disease X is, because a lot of people think there actually is a Disease X. Okay, Disease X, I have Disease X. No, Disease X represents a hypothetical, currently unknown pathogen, which was added to WHO's list of 9 priority diseases in 2018. Disease X represents the knowledge that a serious international epidemic could be caused by a pathogen currently unknown to cause human disease, the UN agency said. So there is no disease. Well, they haven't seen any Disease X. This is a name that they've given to some unknown thing that they are sure is coming, that they are sure is out there, just ready to come at us. How do they know that? Resist the urge to type out the answer, okay? But you know the answer, right? Okay. Instead, just give me a thumbs up or something like that. The WHO, ranks disease X along with COVID, Ebola, Zika virus, Crimean Congo, hemorrhagic fever, Middle East, MERS, SARS, all that. Talks will take place at the World Economic Forum's Preparing for Disease X event in Davos, Switzerland on Wednesday. Wouldn't you love to have one of the programs from that? You know, you go in because you're one of the elite, one of the important ones, and you go in and you get at your conference table, and here's your binder of stuff there, and on the front it says Preparing for Disease X. Boy, that thing would auction off, wouldn't it? That just brought me an idea. I can't tell you what it is, but maybe you'll know soon. We'll see. A panel chaired by WHO President Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus. You ever notice you can't ever pronounce any of these guys' names? And you know he's not a medical doctor. He's a doctor of something. You know, he's a doctor like Joe Biden is a doctor. Will look into new efforts to prepare healthcare systems for the multiple challenges ahead. Yeah, I bet they got multiple challenges. Experts do not yet know what virus will cause the next pandemic, but they have warned for decades that bird flu is the most likely candidate. Researchers believe this is due to the threat of recombination, with high levels of human flu increasing the chance of co-infection with avian flu. Others have long theorized that disease X might spread by zoonotic. It's not a word I say often. Zoonotic transmission, which occurs when an animal virus or bacteria jumps to humans. Some have even warned that disease X may be caused by a biological mutation, an accident, like a leak from something, or a terrorist attack that takes the globe by surprise and spreads rapidly. Scientists said disease X is as infectious as measles, with the fatality rate of Ebola, and that preparations have already started for an outbreak. I bet, don't you? Preparations have already started. You think they're printing out some more little yellow footprints that everybody can put on the floors of their businesses and hospitals and buildings and things like that? But better keep people 20 feet away from this one, even though we all knew that was a hoax, a made-up number, and phony Fauci finally admitted it. But so many people, people just lived and died by this, didn't they? I had a woman at the post office almost attack me one time because I was encroaching on her little feet prints. I was too close. Get back! I'm going to call the federal police. You can't do that in a post office. Gee. You know, people go crazy, and they know that. They know that all they have to do is put out one of these scares, and most of the cattle are just going to go, ah! And it's going to work. And, you know, there's this idea, or maybe I should say there's this hope, that a lot of people have learned from the last one, you know, and aren't going to fall for the next one. I'm not sure I'd be too sure about that. Okay, so it's as infectious as measles with a fatality rate of Ebola, and yes, their preparations have already started for the outbreak. The WHO feels it is more of a probability than a possibility that it will hit. Okay, next thing we'll be hearing the old, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Don't you love that? Writing in Mail Online, Kate Bingham, a former chair of the UK Vaccine Task Force, said we may look back at the COVID pandemic like a walk in the park. You know, for some of us, it will be. For some of us, it didn't affect us. If anything, it affected us positively, to be real honest. And probably that was the case with most prepared people, PMPs. Prepared-minded people. That's the term that I've coined. PMP. You're a PMP if you are a prepared-minded person, and it doesn't matter whether you're advanced or just starting out, if you're minded, if you're not just a hobbyist, which I call a prepper, if you're not just somebody who wants to go out and buy a bunch of stuff off of Amazon and stock up some food and then watch videos from watch prepper channels so that you can go, ah. Well, then, if you're like that, you're a prepper. If you're not like that and you're serious about it and it's a lifestyle, then you're a PMP. I explained this in detail a couple of days ago, and I got a comment from somebody. I just wanted to ban them for their stupidity, and it came on and said, PMP, please define. I had just defined it. I tell you, the people, some of the people, 99% of you are just great. Gosh, 1% out there. Oh my Lord. Okay, so they continue. In a sense, this is Kate Bingham continuing, who's a former chair of the UK Vaccine Task Force. In a sense, we got lucky with COVID-19, even though it caused 20 million or more deaths worldwide. Why? Whatever, right? I meant to complete my thought earlier. I'm sorry. Even though it was no big deal for a lot of us, it was horrible for some people, and it wasn't necessarily the thing itself. It was the constraints that were put on people as a result of the response. I mean, people's lives were ruined. People died alone. People weren't able to be with their loved ones in the last moments or hours of their lives. It was horrible for many. People lost their jobs. People lost their businesses. Multi-generational family businesses were destroyed by the lockdowns, destroying an entire family's financial future. I mean, it was horrible, but it wasn't the thing. It was the response. The point is, so in a sense, we got lucky with COVID-19. I'm sure a lot of people didn't feel that they were all that lucky. The point is that the vast majority of people infected with the virus managed to recover. Yeah, some of us said that. She added, let me put it this way. The 1918-19, I'll say that fast 3 times, 1918-19, flu pandemic killed at least 50 million people worldwide, twice as many as were killed in World War I. Today, we could expect a similar death toll from one of the many viruses that already exist. Today, there are more viruses busily replicating and mutating than all of the other life forms on our planet combined. Not all of them pose a threat to humans, of course, but plenty do. And you all are familiar with this. One of the things that I found most surprising is when I was told by friends of mine who actually are medical people, they said, you'll never have the same colds twice because viruses are constantly mutating. And we develop immunity against one, and then we have kind of immunity against maybe associated or relative viruses, but they're always mutating, and so that's why we keep getting colds unless we keep up our immune system. That is key, keeping up your immune system. Okay, and if I remember, I'll tell you what I do at the end of this to keep up my immune system. Kate added, imagine disease X is as infectious as measles with a fatality rate of Ebola. I said that before, which is 67%. Well, that's more than 2 out of every 3. Somewhere in the world, she continues, it's replicating. Sooner or later, somebody will start feeling sick. Yeah, whenever they decide, right? We need to take the first steps in dealing with that next pandemic right now, and that involves putting money on the table. That's right. Money! What is this about? What is everything about? War, healthcare, it's about money. Back, and I've said this before, I haven't said it for a while, I remember back in the, 80s or 90s, and they projected that the biggest, the greatest, most jobs, so much of our economy and so many jobs were going to be in healthcare. And at the time I thought, why? I don't know anybody that ever goes to the hospital. Nobody I ever knew, including all the old people in my family, ever went to the hospital until they were about to die and died. I don't know. I mean, I went to the hospital a few times for broken bones. I didn't know people who went to the doctor. Nobody went to the doctor, except for very serious stuff. Well, they knew what they were talking about because they knew what they were preparing, didn't they? Oh yeah, health chiefs have pledged to stay on the front foot after deadly COVID tore through the UK as labs scrambled to design and test a jab in 2020. Let's see if there's anything else here. The UK Health Security Agency says it will soon be able to turn around a life-saving vaccine for any dangerous new bug within 100 days. Well, sure, because they already have it. There's a lot more. One more sentence. If it is disease X, the work that we have done will allow us to deploy. I love the term deploy. No, I don't love it. I'm being facetious. I despise the term deploy. It is used by so many people trying to sound a military, isn't it? Isn't it? I mean, tactical. They can't pull out their knife. They have to deploy it, right? They can't pull their gun. They have to deploy it. And now we can't just administer a vaccine or distribute it. We can't distribute it. We have to deploy it. Watch out for anybody who overuses the word deploy. I will dub them deployables. How about that? For all you deployables out there, just get over yourself and start talking normal. So, if it is disease X, the work that we have done will allow us to deploy a very rapid and slick response. Yeah, I bet. Okay, I think that's enough. I'll put this article up over on the Patreon channel. So, yeah, they're coming after us. Is a major die-off coming? Well, many of us have suspected. So, right, we know that the WEF and all the big boys are determined in their effort for global depopulation. They've said so. We've accepted it, that this is their goal. We have not accepted that what they're saying is going to be the cause of it, but we know it. But it doesn't matter either way. Now, it does matter if you're preparing to be able to withstand, what's coming. So let's get to that real quick. And in all of these things, the key is not to be frightened by the thing they're trying to frighten you with. Now, I've said before that it was up to me, I would, and I really wanted to depopulate the world, which I don't. Well, there are some people the world could do better without. But that's not for me to say. That's in the good Lord's hands. And I've said if it was up to me, I would put out one and try to scare everybody, and but it not be all that big a deal. And so, in order to set them up to not believe me, when I let the real one out, and so they wouldn't take. So they would say, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. I'm not going to be shamed again. I'm not doing that stuff. And then the real one comes and everybody, So that's what I would do. And I think it's a great, I think it would be a very effective plan. Not great, but effective. But, whether that's the deal or whatever the cause is, I think there will be a major die-off. Okay, let me change will to may. I think they're very possibly up there in the 80% or above, may be a major die-off coming. Yeah, I know that's quite a projection. And well, all things point to it. Can I be sure? No, but I'm going to plan as if it were, and I think you should too. The first thing, of course, is to be as self-sufficient as you can possibly be. Be able to isolate yourself from the carriers. And boy, that's a whole nother thing I could get into. I don't have time. For as long as you need to. And here again, in the last one, I told you I was working in a hospital. I was dealing with these patients all of the time. I never got it. Half the time didn't wear a mask. And that there were people in the preparedness world that, I mean, they isolated, that they locked down. They did things that when I heard about it, I thought, oh my Lord, it seems a little paranoid to me. And they got it, so you don't know. But so to the extent that is a good defense, who knows? But be able to isolate yourself, be able to be self-sufficient. So you don't have to leave your house for, I don't know, 3 months, 6 months, a year. Can you do that? If you can't, I suggest you work towards it. And I know a lot of things go in there, but don't anybody come on and say, that can't be done, Steve. Uncle Steve will tell you it can be done. So get over yourself and stop whining and just start working toward it. If you're not to that place yet, okay, that's fine, but work toward it. That's going to be one of your best defenses. The other best defense, and of course all along the way, is not to be scared. It is build your immune system. Many of the people who died as a result of that last little thing, they had compromised immune systems, and they had other things going on, with them that predisposed them to succumb to this. So build your immune system. I get outside. I get a lot of energy. I take a lot of vitamin D. I can't tell you to do this. I'm just sharing my personal life, right? I take a lot of vitamin D. I take 20,000 international units of vitamin D a day. And everybody in my house has been sick this winter, and I haven't had no, not me. Now watch me get sick now, right? Hope not. I take that. I take vitamin C. I take zinc. I take a multivitamin. I take a number of supplements. Why? Simply because you can't be sure that you get all that in a diet. Everybody can say, well, just eat right and okay. If you knew the nutrients that were in our food was in our food or not in our food today, you'd understand the importance and the need for supplements. Now, if you're eating a carnivore diet, that in my opinion, that might reduce your need for supplements. When I am on carnivore, I mean, it's like a world of difference. And I don't feel tired. I don't get sore. I don't feel sick. My mind is clear. All sorts of things. I better get off of here. Yep, coming to the end. So anyway, build your immune system and ask God to keep you safe. Ask God not just to keep you safe, but to guide you through this. Guide you. Let you know, ask him to let you know what's real, what's not, what should I do, and then keep my family healthy and safe. Okay, that's my prayer every morning. Keep, show me what you want me to do, bless me in that, and keep my family safe and healthy. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next year, whatever. And we know all the different reasons these things might happen. But anyway, as a major die-off coming, I think that's very possible. Very possible. It's going to be horrible to see. And it will have an impact on every one of us. But we need to minimize its impact on us through basic preparedness, advanced preparedness, being smart, and the help of the good Lord himself. Okay, you guys have a good day. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. I didn't even mention my books. All of my books are now available on Audible. Did you know that? Did I mention that? Yes, the entire Stonemont series. Now available not just in paperback or Kindle through Amazon, or in paperback directly from me on our website, stonemont.us, but in Audible. So I get messages. People are out there binging on the Audible, even when they've already read the books. And I'll put the links down below. You all have a great day. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.